If you're working as a health, fitness, or a wellness professional, it's pretty likely that you're going to run into some clients that are dealing with mold illness. And it's also pretty likely that they're going to be a little bit discouraged and having a hard time really finding some answers. Their doctor may have even told them that this is not a real issue. This is probably just in your head. So in this video, I want to help you understand some surprising issues that this problem can create in the body, some surprising mistakes that most clients may be making, and some surprising reasons why these clients may not have seen any results even though they're putting a lot of effort into this. Let's jump in.
T.C. Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor or licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
Now there can be a lot of confusion and misbelief about this topic just because two people can be in the same moldy environment and one person will have no problem whatsoever and the other person can't even get out of bed or function like a human being. So we're going to kind of talk about some reasons this can happen, and I'll put some links in the description below to some studies that kind of talk about some of these things we're going to dig into a little bit if you want to look over those a little bit more. But when we're looking at mold illness, it's usually not about, oh, the mold is just this problem. It's the mycotoxins that they put out. So they put out these mycotoxins, and a lot of different theories will kind of say, well, they're kind of using this as a defense mechanism. It kind of makes other varmints keep from taking over their resources and such. But in any case, it's the mycotoxins that they put out that can create a lot of trouble in the human body. And you'll mostly hear about respiratory or sinus type symptoms, but this can also create digestive disturbances and issues with the immune system working correctly. And some clients might just have an environmental issue where maybe it's just in the house, so they're breathing in these mold spores and it's creating symptoms for them. And if they can get out of that house, then it kind of improves their situation. But other clients may have a colonization issue where that mold has set up camp in the body, so anywhere they go, they're taking their problem with them. So that can be very different situations when you're looking at these clients. Now, keep in mind with this colonization issue that this mold can colonize in the lungs or the sinuses, but it can also colonize in the digestive tract. And it can even colonize systemically or in the blood. So I'll have a link below to a page that talks about this invasive mold infections, or IMI. And they talk about that this can be a significant issue where mold has taken over the whole body, and it's very common to see after like hurricanes or floods for people who have a weakened immune system. So I don't know, talking about, well, it happens when it's really significant, but this is not real if someone just has a lower version of it. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But when we're looking at this weakened immune system, don't view it like a client would need to have been diagnosed being immunocompromised or something like that. There are issues that people will do in their lifestyle that can turn off the body's ability to signal the immune system that, hey, there's a problem that you need to come take care of. And I'm not going to dig into this a whole lot, but I'll put a link in the description below to our video over on our Bigger Consumer Kick It Naturally channel for a video on Get Over a Cold Fast. And that kind of talks about a lecture from Dr. Mark Anderson, who explains that there has to be enough calcium at the tissue level for the body to be able to signal the immune system that, hey, there's a problem and come take care of that. So anybody dealing with like cold sores has problems with their immune system being told that there's a problem. If they're having a current breakout, that means that there's not enough calcium at that tissue level for one reason or another. It's usually because they're eating too many carbs or sugars or maybe taking too much vitamin D, but for some reason they have taken steps that have removed the body's ability to tell the immune system, hey, take care of this virus here, and the virus has flowered and now they have a cold sore. So that video will kind of help you understand things to go over with your clients to make sure that they're not making those mistakes that can turn off the immune system's ability to do its job. Because if that's the case, this issue could cause problems for that person where maybe it wouldn't cause trouble for someone else. So if your client's immune system is basically kind of turned off, so to speak, then this problem can be a really big problem for them where maybe somebody else, even in the same house, wouldn't be having any trouble at all. We also want to know that this issue can often be misdiagnosed as Lyme or some other issues, so it's important to keep that in mind. But also we want to look at the digestive issues that this can actually create. Because if they're setting up camp in the digestive tract, those mycotoxins have the ability to change that environment and change the chemistry of that environment. The waste or byproducts that a lot of these microorganisms put out can kind of be alkaline, and that can alkalize that digestive tract. It can even restrict the body's ability to make hydrochloric acid or stomach acid that we need to be able to break our food down and get all of the nutrients out of that food. So that can be a really big deal. The stress that this puts on the body can also raise stress hormones that can thicken up the bile. So now bile won't flow correctly, and that can restrict the body's ability to detox correctly. So if the body can't get rid of toxins the way that it should, now more of these mycotoxins are going to accumulate in the system and magnify the symptoms that are being created for that individual. Another problem is that this invites the environment for more other like yeast, mold, fungal bad guys to come in and set up camp as well. And it appears that these type of microorganisms are the most problematic when it comes to causing that intestinal permeability to become too permeable, and we create a leaky gut type issue. So if we have a leaky gut problem and this client is not digesting their food and breaking it down the way that it should, they're not breaking the food down into elemental nutrients like vitamins and minerals and amino acids, that food is not broken down, so it still has an identity. Now, if that intestinal lining is more permeable, more of these food particles get into the bloodstream, and now the blood doesn't know what chicken is. It's looking for these vitamins and minerals and amino acids. So this food particles is viewed as an invader. And now the body sets up all of these immune responses to anytime you eat this food, and we get these food sensitivity issues. So that can really create some immune malfunctions, because now a lot of the body's efforts are going towards attacking this food instead of dealing with the invader that's creating all of this trouble. So you can see how this could really snowball for some of your clients, and how this issue can become so severe and their body can become even more sensitive to even the mold and all these issues. I want to show you this comment that I got on a video that they said, my digestive symptoms improved when I tested my home for toxic mold, moved out, threw away all of my belongings that carried mold spores and couldn't be cleaned, like bedding, wood, leather, thick clothes, papers, books, and detoxed the mold from my system. This was huge and life-altering to go through, but it worked. I was being exposed to mold and couldn't even smell it or see it. It was inside the walls from a roof leak. I used to get extremely reactive to fiber and had to quit fiber, but now that I've detoxed, I can get some fiber again. So just something to consider for those who may be suffering. It could be in your environment. By the way, my biliary dyskinesia improved also, which doc said wasn't possible. So we hear from people probably on a daily basis that talk about these biliary issues that somebody told them couldn't be fixed, that they improve using these steps that our clients do a lot. So we know that that's very common to see, and it makes sense that when this burden was removed from the body, that she was able to improve that biliary function as well and allow that bile to flow correctly, allowing the body to detox the way that it should. And I do hear from people, and there's a lot of experts that feel like if someone has a severe mold issue, they really need to get out of that house, and they do need to get rid of all those belongings, or they're just going to carry the mold spores to the next house and carry the problem with it. I don't know that everybody has to be that severe. A lot of clients are going to see improvement just getting out of the environment because the issue is not colonized. Other people are going to allow their immune system to function a little bit better and help take care of the problem, while others may need to really be that severe. But the biggest step when you're helping clients fix this problem is they have to remove the insult. You have to either fix the problem in the house or get out of the house or wherever the mold exposure is. Maybe they're being exposed at their job or at their gym or even in their car, but wherever that problem is, it has to be corrected, or any of these other steps that we take are really not going to do anything. They're really not going to create improvement. A lot of people put a lot of effort into this, but they're being exposed nonstop. So how is that going to fix any problem? So there's a lot of different protocols out there, a lot of different mold experts out there, and nobody really agrees. And I don't really feel like there is a protocol that's really going to work for everybody. So I just want to go over some key things to keep in mind when you're helping your clients navigate this and help them figure out what's going to work best for them. So there's different kinds of tests that you can run for mold. There's a nasal swab that I don't feel that that's super effective, because when they colonize in the sinuses, it's up in the sinus cavity. It's not in that nasal passageway there. There's a urine test that's usually pretty easy to do, and it's one of the cheaper tests, but there's a lot of kind of a disagreement about how effective that is. Some experts feel like you need to really do like 6 samples in a day, and most of the labs are not asking for that. And you got to kind of associate it with some other markers that come in on the body, and it can kind of depend on what somebody's eating. So that doesn't appear to be the most effective test to do. The serum blood or the ELISA method seems to be the most effective, but keep in mind that none of these tests are really looking at the current state of mold in the body. They're looking at some reactions and some, mycotoxin antibodies and such. So we're really just trying to get an idea of issues that a person may have dealt with and that they're currently dealing with now, and this just seems to be the best thing available. Now, we also need to understand that if a client is using a medication from their doctor, if you're not a doctor, we don't want to give any type of medical advice, but it's really popular to hear about a doctor giving somebody fluconazole, which is a really good antifungal medication, but it's really good at wiping out single cell organisms like yeast, like candida and such. It doesn't seem to be as effective at wiping out multicell, and a lot of these different types of molds are multi-cell organisms. So you might want to have them ask their doctor about another medication that might be more effective for multi-cell organisms. There are some of those available. And some clients are going to be worried about, I don't want to take a medication because I'm worried about the effects on my liver. And I'm a pretty natural guy. I like to fix things with natural solutions, because then you're really working to fix the actual underlying cause instead of just covering up a symptom with a medication. But someone might also want to consider that this can be a very difficult thing to get under control. And yes, any type of medication can be a burden on the liver, but it's likely that the heavy load of mycotoxins is already putting a burden on the liver. So this might be a scenario where I usually often feel a little bit better about somebody using a medication if they're going to use something that's really effective. But a lot of people will want to use antimicrobials. A lot of people feel like these can be effective. There's not a lot of studies that really confirm that. There's some that say, yeah, this can really help, and others that say that this didn't really do much of anything. But my viewpoint is that antimicrobials, things like grapefruit seed extract seems to be a very good one for like yeast, mold, fungal type issues. Caprylic acid can be great, oregano oil. And my viewpoint is that if somebody is colonized in the digestive tract, that these things can be very effective. We see a lot of really good results with these when the problem is in the digestive tract. Now, if somebody has a systemic issue, these may not do as much. But my viewpoint is you really got to do whatever you can to help the body fight off this invader. Nothing that a person is going to use is really going to do it on its own. You're really just trying to help the body do the job that it should be doing anyways. So when you can help this digestive function work a little bit better, now you can help the person break down their food better. So now that they can get more nutrients to give the body resources it needs for the immune system to function correctly. They're breaking down those foods better so that more food particles are not getting into some type of leaky gut and creating all of these, immune responses to that food. And now maybe the immune system is not so burdened attacking this food, and now it can focus more on trouble in the body. So I view that as very valuable, and I view those antimicrobials as very effective for that purpose. Now, some diet considerations are that a client's really going to need to get rid of like the sugar and the processed carbs and junk like that. That seems to feed these varmints. But a lot of people will take that to another level and say, well, I'm just going to have no carbs at all. I'm going to do a ketogenic diet. But it's been shown that a lot of these yeast, mold, fungal type critters have the ability to feed on ketones. So a lot of people will go on a ketogenic diet and they'll start to see these symptoms magnify because now they're really giving these varmints a fuel source that they can use very efficiently. So I like to keep clients out of ketosis if they're dealing with a mold illness type issue, but lowering the carbs is certainly a great idea. Now, with most of these protocols that you'll see for mold, they're going to talk about you really got to detox these mycotoxins, and you can use binders. Things like, bentonite clay or, activated charcoal are really good at binding to some of these things and pulling them out of the body. So there's some studies that show, oh, this can be helpful, and there's others that show that this didn't really do much, especially for these specific types of mold. So one thing to think about is that these seem to be more effective in that digestive tract, so that can be one helpful thing if someone has a problem there. But if I'm going to use binders with a client, I'm going to think about two things. First of all, are they starting to take steps to reduce this issue? I don't want them to start some binder if they haven't removed themselves from the problem and all these things, because the binders not only get the toxins out, they can also pull some minerals and nutrients out of the body. So I look at a client and is their blood pressure really low? Like, is their systolic number below 112, indicating that they may already have low mineral levels, which is going to be common to see if someone has digestive issues going on. So I want to know, is that going to be a problem? And are these binders going to magnify that problem and really strip them of the nutrients they need to help the body fight off this invader? And if I'm going to use them, I'm going to use them for a shorter period of time and away from food. But these do seem to help. You just want to keep those things in mind when you're looking at any kind of binders. I like to help clients fix that bile flow so that the bile is flowing correctly, and then the body can detox the way that it really wants to detox. I'm not going to get into how to do that here, but if you don't know how to help clients fix digestive issues, my book Health Pro Results, chapters 3 and 4 will kind of walk you through helping clients figure out which aspects of digestion are not working correctly and steps you can help them take to improve that. And the book is available on Amazon, but I'll put a link in the description below where you can get the whole thing totally for free, and then you can just jump to chapters 3 and 4. And if you're a consumer that just happened upon this video, then we'll put a link so you can get my book, Kick Your Fat in the Nuts, for free too. And chapters 3 and 4 of that book go over those same things. It's just written for consumers, where the Health Pro Results book is really more written for health professionals. So I like to make sure the body can detox, and then I don't have to worry as much about using as much binders or for as long. You're also going to hear people talking about, oh, you should use fiber and probiotics. And people talk about using fiber because they think that's how you fix digestive malfunctions, and it's really just not. Now, with more fiber, that may help push more stuff out of the intestinal tract. That could be helpful, but just know it's not going to fix digestive malfunctions. We like to fix the actual underlying cause of those to make that happen. Probiotics can be helpful, but the timing is important. If someone is having all these symptoms and they haven't taken steps to reduce some type of colonization or overgrowth, keep in mind that any type of varmint in there can set up the environment for other types of bad guys to come in and set up camp in the digestive tract. And if you have all this bad bacteria and such, when you put probiotics in there, now you're going to have this war between the good guys and the bad guys, and it can really magnify a lot of the symptoms for your clients. So we like to take steps to reduce some type of overgrowth first, maybe with these antimicrobials, fix some digestive malfunctions, and then we'll introduce probiotics, and that can repopulate and really help push out a lot of these bad mold kind of guys. And a good one for that can be Saccharomyces boulardii. That's like a yeast type strain of a beneficial yeast. And if you can put that in when the timing is right, then they can help push out these bad, mold type strains as well. We also really want to help clients reduce any stress. Stress has the ability to reduce the immune system's ability to do its job. So we want to reduce the stress in their life, because we need to understand if they have this going on, they probably already have stress in the body. So if they have stress in their life, we want to help them find ways to reduce that. And the last thing is we want to understand some sinus situations. If something is really colonized in the sinuses, you're going to have to take steps to really wipe that out. And I had some infections in my stomach that made me lose my voice for 8 years, and I had reflux and all these problems. And I would fix this, but then it would come back a month or two later because I had this infection in my sinuses that was feeding down into my stomach. So some more advanced steps will need to be taken, maybe some neti pot type situations. We have a video over on our bigger consumer channel on, is our sinus issues affecting digestion? I'll put a link below in the description for that video so you can look into that. That goes over some of the steps that I use to really clear out that issue. And we talk about more advanced steps that I used in our advanced digestion course found in our Bio-I membership for health professionals. So I'll put a link to learn more about our membership if you want to check that out in the description below the video as well. But you can see that this can be a complicated issue, and it's really not going to be the same protocol for every client. You're really going to have to look at what's going to be the most important thing to attack for them. But since this digestion and helping them improve digestive issues can be such a big deal, you can jump over right now and check out our video on understanding your client's digestive malfunctions. I can't wait to hear about your results.